This time I will comment on 3 aspects in total: the M27 infantry automatic rifle, weapon choice for rush, and how to win rush on the offense, featuring a gameplay of both defense and offense. The attributes of the M27 IAR and complementary attachments will be explained in the defense part of the game, whereas the other 2 aspects will be explained in relation to the actual offense gameplay. The M27 IAR is a result of the Infantry Automatic Rifle program initiated in 2005 by the United States Marine Corps. In 2006, armaments concerns FN, Heckler & Koch, and Cold Defense managed to convince the Marine Corps of their respective designs and were issued with the production of sample weapons. In 2009, the model provided by Heckler & Koch, which is based on the HK416, beat out its competitors and after the final phase of testing was labeled as M27 in summer 2010. As a result of the reduced weight and size, the M27 IAR is easier and faster to operate than the M249 SAW, which is especially important in close quarter scenarios. In Play4Free, the M27 IAR has a relatively flat damage pattern similar to the MG36 with 1 point more maximum and minimum damage in close range and small damage difference between the ranges. It has 5 magazines of each 40 rounds. And when you hear this, you might think, LMG with 40 rounds? Nice joke, bro. What I'm going to do with that? To be honest, that actually is a very low magazine capacity for LMG type weapons, but you also have to keep in mind the reload time of 4.1 seconds. The M27 IAR has the fastest reload time of all LMG type weapons, and 4.1 seconds is a very fast reload across all weapons. So it's definitely a very flexible weapon in this aspect, because you have a really small out of combat time between reloads, which is nothing compared to the 10 second takes forever to reload belt-fed LMGs. It also has a decent projectile velocity of 650 meters per second, which is the second highest velocity of all light machine guns, especially useful when shooting targets on long range. It has the best hipfire deviation of all light machine guns, giving you more flexibility in close quarter scenarios. And it also has a quite good deviation when aiming down sight. The last aspect to conclude the analysis of the base weapon is the recoil. The M27 IAR has almost exactly the same recoil as the MG36, the notable difference being a bit more horizontal recoil. As for attachments, I'm using Rapid Aim Red Dot, Stabilized Stock, Viper magazines and Precision Barrel. The choice of the sight is mainly cosmetical, because it does not actually increase the magnification you will have. It only gives you different field of view when aiming on sight, different aiming vertical with the red dot in the middle. So it's mainly up to personal preference if you want to go with the default sights, hollow or Rapid Aim Red Dot. However, the Rapid Aim Red Dot has a small advantage, as it gives you a slightly faster aiming down sight time, so it's not purely cosmetical, but mainly there's a small advantage to it. The Stabilized Stock is a very easy choice, because horizontal recoil is what annoys you the most of the time, so you use that to reduce the more annoying and random horizontal recoil. For this weapon, I even strongly advise against the Nemesis stock, because the Nemesis stock on this weapon does not even grant you the same horizontal recoil reduction as the Stabilized stock. It's worse at that point, so you not only have less damage, but also the worse horizontal recoil reduction. Of course, you have the better accuracy and the reduced upwards recoil, but the upwards recoil is not that much of a problem to begin with, and this weapon has a very good default accuracy, so there's absolutely no need for the Nemesis stock. In contrary to the stock choice, there are quite some good options for the ammunition/magazine attachment. The viable options in this case are the Cascade, Viper and Stingray magazines. Cascade magazines give you the highest total ammunition and also the highest magazine capacity of all attachments. This means you are less dependent on assaults and can lone wolf for some time if you have to. It also means that you can potentially kill more enemies per magazine than with the damage boosting attachments, because they don't grant the same amount of ammunition per magazine. This may, however, lead to a slight disadvantage in close quarter scenarios, as you don't have the same kill time as with the damage boosting attachment, and in close quarter scenarios it's all about damage per second. That does not mean that Cascade magazines are a bad attachment, but you definitely should be a bit more careful than you would be with damage boosting attachments. The difference between Viper and Stingray magazines is rather small. Both attachments give you a boost in ammunition and in magazine capacity, although not as much as Cascade magazines would do. With both attachments you have a guaranteed 5-shot kill on any enemy, no matter if they use a physical training toughness or not. In addition, you have a potential average 4-shot kill against enemies with 100 HP when using Viper magazines. With Stingray magazines, you won't have the same average 4-shot kill, but you retain the option to kill any hostile infantry target with 5 shots, and on top of that, it is also more likely to kill an enemy in close range with 4 shots, even if he has any of the physical training toughness upgrades. On top of that, you also have 6 additional rounds compared to Viper magazines, so Stingray seems to be the best option for the ammunition / magazine attachment. The only reason I'm still rolling with Viper magazines is that I got it from that noob set with that noob laser cannon, and personally I don't think that the 3000 funds is worth it just for that small improvement. But if you don't have either of these attachments, go for the Stingray. Now, as we have a guaranteed 5-shot kill with either Viper or Stingray magazines, although there's a bit of a damage difference between the ranges with Stingray magazines, there's no need to use a barrel that extends the range segments of the weapon. So again, the complementary barrel is the precision barrel. I will probably even go with the precision barrel when using Cascade magazines, simply for the sake of better ballistics, and the effect of range extension is so small I don't even want to think about it. Now it's time for offense. So let's take the game mode by the name and rush right into the objective. Take out the enemies, arm the MCOM, reload, and look like a boss. At least in theory. But in all seriousness, a fast push on the attacker team can be very rewarding, because that's first, ultimately your goal, and second, it puts the pressure on the side of the defenders, so they have to come to the MCOMs and disarm. But even if things don't go as planned and you die, don't slack and just rush right back in. It might potentially prevent the defenders from disarming the MCOM and thus helps to keep up the pressure. When approaching an MCOM, enemies in the vicinity are the top priority, so you have a clear shot on the MCOM. Otherwise, you might die in the process of arming or right after, which is ultimately no gain. In this situation, I allowed myself to take a forward stance to neutralize and disturb the enemy early on. This tactic is riskier than defending right at the MCOM, but also more rewarding, as you prevent the enemy from even getting close to the objective. Another reason why the defenders have the better position would be the design of the game mode. The defenders have 4 stages to repel and destroy the attacking team. For example, a defending team might totally slack on the first stage and get rifle stomped, but if they manage to keep their stuff together and present a strong defense on the second or third stage, and they manage to reduce the attacking team tickets to 0, they win the game nonetheless. So defending team has to be strong on one stage. If they manage to do that, they win the game. Whereas the attackers have to stay strong throughout the entire game. The medic is one of the more important classes for the attacking team in Rush, if not the most important. And you will see the reason for that in just a little bit. I get surprised by a guy which I lost track on, and it seems that I have to face death as the countdown respawn timer is slowly ticking down. But no, I get avenged and revived. And just a couple of seconds later, I am able to return the favor. And this is a big advantage of having several medics on the attacking team. You can revive each other and other classes, of course, and make sure that enough people reach the MCOM to arm it and protect it from enemies, and ultimately proceed to the next stage. The attacking team is limited by tickets. Each time an attacker dies and respawns, it will cause the attacking team to lose 1 ticket, and when they run out of tickets, the attacking team loses. But as a medic, you can revive your teammates and prevent the ticket losses, which is a great asset to extend the time that you have to arm the MCOMs. The request reinforcement skill and the flare of the medic are of course nice complementary skills to have, but there's one downside to them. Both skills require teammates to respawn in order for them to work. And unless a teammate just entered the game, a respawn is always linked to a death. And by reviving your teammates, you can simply prevent their death and a respawn. So reviving is much better than relying on skills to spawn your teammates at the front, when you can simply keep them up alive and healthy. You can imagine a group of competent medics working together as a giant snowball. It will never lose speed or size, because the medics will revive each other, and with a united offense, everything that stands in the way will get washed away. At some point it's just unstoppable. As you may have noted in the gameplay, the excellent hipfire of the M27 IAR has saved me quite some times, whereas with the hipfire of another LMG I would have died, because the hipfire gets out of control way too fast. And it still has a good punch and accuracy on long range. Not the laser accuracy of the MG36, but still good enough to hold your own in most situations. Now that I see that the B MCOM is already armed too, I repeat the same strategy as before. I take a forward position and try to prevent the enemy from getting close to the MCOM before they can do any damage. And everyone that is focusing his attention on me is one player less focusing his attention on the objective. My sidearm is the Deagle 50. It is similar to the Rex, but has some characteristics that set it apart from all other pistols in the game. It has a long draw time of 0.8 seconds and a hipfire deviation that is not as good as aiming down sight deviation, whereas all other pistols have a short draw time of 0.3 seconds and the same accuracy when firing from the hip and aiming down sight. That means you can't use it as an emergency weapon, but instead when you know that you will need it. Unless you are at point blank range, you should always aim down sight. In this situation, I knew that there was still a guy with a FAMAS around the corner somewhere, so I switched to the Deagle beforehand, because I knew with the M27 it would not have been a safe kill, because the FAMAS has a higher rate of fire, so I went in with the deagle in hope for the critical one-hit headshot, even if he would have been facing me. The deagle also has a slightly higher zoom than other pistols, so it's a bit more suited to making accurate shots at range. And it also has a shorter reload time than the Rex, so if you are in a situation where you will use your sidearm for an extended period of time, the deagle also performs better at that aspect. The higher rate of fire means that you can potentially kill enemies at close range a bit easier than with the Rex, but it's not a good idea to spam the deagle for accurate shots, because it has both a higher firing deviation, that means you will get inaccurate faster, and deviation settle times are also much slower. It has a half of a second of deviation settle times, whereas the Rex has about a tenth of a second. I must admit, I wasn't really playing tactical in that situation. I was only following the assault in a let's see how it goes meta, and it went pretty bad. First we were shot from the spawn, of course, but we were also suppressed from the top of the roof, and to add the icing on the cake, we had no good form of cover. So it was a failure in the making. And now I'm trying to make a different approach to the MCOM. I would only advise assaulting the spawn if the B MCOM is already armed and you want to prevent the enemy from going there. But before that, no good idea. It is, however, a good idea to always throw a grenade to the top of the balcony, because you clear explosives that the defenders might have set there and maybe even get a kill, or at least wound the enemy. I felt like I would get the jump on that guy in that situation, but apparently I did not, and I did not understand it myself at first, so I decided to slow it down and explain it to you. First of all, here of course had the physical training toughness upgrade, which means that I no longer had a guaranteed 4-shot kill with 26 to 30 damage at close range with the M27 and Viper magazines, but only a 4-shot kill on average. But as you can see from the damage, I did lower damage than that, which means he had also the Kevlar rest, so I only had a 5-shot kill. He instead had a SAR +3 and Viper magazines, so he had a guaranteed 4-shot kill. But even with that slight advantage in mind, I still should have won the encounter with already 5 hits, but I did not even win with 6 hits, which means he used an adrenaline shot somewhere in between them. No bad feelings here, but I just wanted to demonstrate why it happened, the way it happened, and that the M27 still works at hipfire. A powerful sidearm like the Rex or Deagle can of course make the difference here, if you can manage to make the headshot in, which is not always the easiest thing to do, especially when the enemy is moving. At this point, the major part of my team is still behind me, so I go for a stealthy approach and try to flank from the right side, and once again make my way through the ground level. I even managed to take down a couple of guys, reload and prepare myself for the next encounter by using satellite scan. But the problem about the door is it's just a big choke point, and the defenders just need to sit there and point the guns at the entry and shoot at everything that comes in. So I'm once again back at the spawn, and at this point I'm taking the gas and try to get some teammates to attack with me together. I see that I got shot by a friendly as I need a right sign, so I wait. Wait for two other guys and then rush right into the objective and try to make pressure. I got a bit overzealous by going for that revive, but luckily I had a teammate covering my back and so it all went good. Seeing as the ground level approach failed 2 times, I'm now taking the direct way over the ladder. Same principle as before. First neutralize the MCOM, heal yourself up, arm the MCOM, and then take a good defensive position and make sure no one comes close to the MCOM. In this situation I'm paying no attention at the ladder because I'm aware that the APC is still up and that and any other approaching teammates should kill off everything that enters the ladder. The last seconds are ticking down, and finally it's game, set, victory.